Kansas City. This often happens with dynasties, which Kansas City is. They have 2 Super Bowls in a 4-year stretch with another appearance, and Mahomes has won an MVP in that span, plus an MVP before that span started. And if their worst season every single year that Mahomes has been the starter is an AFC title game loss. They're a dynasty. We do this often with dynasties. When they're kind of in cruise control in the regular season, we let it fool us. That, because they're not playing well right now, and quarterback doesn't seem to have a total rhythm, and Andy Reid's getting mad at officials, and Travis Kelce slamming his helmet on the sideline, and all the above. Dynasties are different, though. Dynasties can cruise control. Dynasties can kind of go, I shouldn't say half speed, but understand that the regular season, as important as it is, you make your legacies in January and February. And I said coming into this game, I do a segment every single week. It's my favorite segment of the week. It is simply called... It's called If I Were a Bet Man. And I do it on Fridays. It's the one game every week. I'm like, if I were a bet man, I don't gamble. But if I did, the one game I would just go all in on. And when I saw Miami, Kansas City was just Chiefs minus, it got to only, the highest it got was 4.5. I'm like, thank you. This is easy. You're telling me a Dolphins team that went down the stretch of the regular season, losing 3 of 5, lost their last 2 devastatingly to Baltimore, and then a Buffalo Bills team came in there, didn't even play that well offensively, and still beat you. That with a beat-up roster, you're going to go to Kansas City, forget win, and cover in the 4th coldest game that's ever been played in the history of the National Football League. That Miami is going to win that game? No. And this is how dynasties are. Every year, can this team flip it? Oh, you can't flip a switch. If you're great enough, you can. I always use the example of, when you're in life, we flip switches all the time. We conduct ourselves a certain way at work. We conduct ourselves a certain way at home. We can conduct ourselves a certain way around our grandmother or grandfather. We conduct ourselves a certain way around our friends, our boys, our girlfriends, whatever. We flip switches in life. You're telling me you can't flip a switch as a football team for 4 straight games? After 17 prior to that? Off of what was essentially a bye week last week because Mahomes rested, Kelce rested, most of the important guys did. Of course, Kansas City looked good. And by the way, the score, 26-7, it probably should have been more like 40-7-ish. Kansas City left some meat in the bone in the red zone. That's going to be something they're going to need to clean up, whether they play Houston or Buffalo next week. They're going to need to clean that up. But again, Patrick Mahomes, cruddy conditions, didn't matter. QBR of 88. Had a touchdown, Chiefs running game, buck 47. Chiefs defense, which I've said all year is top 3 in the NFL with San Francisco and Baltimore. What a surprise. They played a team that can't win when it's not 70 degrees. And Patrick Mahomes, I saw this stat today. It's quite mind-boggling. In games of temperatures of 40 or lower, Patrick Mahomes has 21 wins with 6 losses. So the weather does not affect him. 4th coldest game ever? It doesn't matter. Let's just run the football, hit you in the mouth, convert on 3rd down, move around, make plays on an icy field surface. It doesn't matter. Because when you have the best quarterback we've ever seen in our lives, and I say the most talented quarterback ever, 4th greatest quarterback ever, one of the greatest coaches ever, certainly the best offensive coach in the last 2 decades, the greatest tight end ever, and that isn't arguable, especially when you look at his postseason numbers, and what happens to be the best defense Mahomes has ever had. You're telling me they can't put together 4 straight games of good football? You kidding me? There was not a thing about that game yesterday, including Mahomes' helmet cracking in the, whatever it was, -16 or -13, whatever it was, wind chill. Even that, nothing shot me about that game. It was cold. You got a team that can't play well unless it's beautiful conditions. Now they got to go to the 4th coldest game ever against a team that thrives in cold weather, against the best quarterback in the league by a mile, against the best coach in the league, against the best tight end of all time, and a top 3 defense, and they're going to win? They're going to cover? That game didn't surprise me a tiny bit. So this whole, Buffalo's better, Cleveland. I remember how many lists I see. Browns are better than the Chiefs. They're not. They're not. They use 4 quarterbacks. Like Stefanski, more than the Browns later. They're not. Championship DNA is a real thing. I cannot tell you the number of years where my Warriors either floundered at the end of the regular season or were kind of beat up, didn't look so good, were on cruise control. And then once April, May, and June hit, they looked like the Warriors. They looked like the same old team we're used to, winning championships. Insert any dynasty. Insert how many seasons of the Patriots went in with no momentum, and then they reel off 3 or 4 straight wins and won the Super Bowl. Because when you have the DNA, when you have the culture, when you have the structure there, when you have an all-time great quarterback, all-time great coach, great defense. I've compared this year's Chiefs. People need to stop comparing this year's Chiefs to last year's Chiefs or the Chiefs of years past, where Mahomes thrown for 1 million yards and 50 touchdowns. It's not that team. I said a month ago when they beat New England, I said, wait a minute. It just dawned on me. Maybe it's because they were playing New England. I'm like, oh, this is one of the Brady Patriot teams. Great coach who specializes on his side of the ball, on a certain side of the ball. Great defense, all-time great quarterback, all-time great tight end who's kind of fading a little bit, Serviceable receivers, nowhere near special, but serviceable if you have that great of a quarterback. Well, a lot of playoff games. You can like Buffalo more. I think everybody should like Baltimore more. It's the best team in the league. You can like Buffalo more. You can like Cleveland more. Houston's a great story. Stroud's amazing. More on them in a second. You like Houston more. You can like Miami more. Cute, flashy team. I'm going to roll with the team that's won 2 of the last 4 championships, been to 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls, and has the best player you've ever seen at the position and the 4th greatest player of all time. And yes, there is this distinction between best and greatest. That was the least shocking thing I saw this weekend. Green Bay beating Dallas would have been surprising. What they did at Dallas was like, holy smokes, I didn't see that coming. Stroud doing what he did to that Browns defense, didn't see that coming. Saw him winning, didn't see him doing that. Detroit winning close, that wasn't that surprising, but this dynasty, best quarterback in the league, best coach in the league, best tight end ever, and a great playoff performer, top 3 defense against a team that is horrible in cold weather. I'm surprised they didn't beat him by more than they did. Shout out to Kansas City. We get dynasty fatigue all the time. We did it with the Warriors. We did it with the Patriots. Did it with Alabama football. And they just keep on winning these big playoff games. Get used to seeing, I shouldn't say get used. We are used to it. Kansas City's not going anywhere anytime soon. I just hate to break it to you, but that's what it is. All year long, everybody's panicking on the Chiefs. Not me. Because A, pick integrity. I picked the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. And B, because I know how dynasties function in these situations. Never been a part of one, but I was a fan of one. Am a fan of one. Warriors dynasty ain't over until Steph's prime's over. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.